Okay, this is the Code of Hammurabi. It is the sole Babylonian piece that we have in our set. It was found in modern Iraq, or it's from modern Iraq. It was actually found in Iran. Somebody took it, actually. Okay, it was found in 3 different pieces when they uncovered it, 3 or 4 huge pieces. But the form of this is that it's 7.5 feet tall. It's a stele. A stele is something, again, that can stand on its own. That it's made of the material basalt is notable because basalt rock is super duper hard. You can see it across the street from North Central and around the inland Northwest. It has, in terms of form, high relief at the top where the material of the basalt has been carved out. And then one figure is sitting, one is standing. There's something going on between them. At the bottom of the stele, or most, probably 2/3 of the stele, is incised. The artist has carved into the stele writing. There are 4,500 columns or lines of writing. The context for this piece is that Hammurabi was a leader of the Babylonian Empire, considered the best leader of the Babylonian Empire. He ruled for 42 years. He was given this land when he started from his father, and then over his reign, he expanded it to all of this light orange area. And when he died, he handed it over to his son, who quickly let it kind of fall apart. Notice that Eshnuna, Uruk, that we've already looked at, are included in the Babylonian Empire. So let's look closer at the content, which there's a lot of for this piece. We know that on the right here is the god Shamash. He's the god of justice. He's also governor of the universe and kind of controller of the sun. He is handing over to Hammurabi, who is the standing figure, a staff right here, or some to call it a rod, and he is handing over a ring, or it's a measuring line, which represents righteousness. So the staff or rod represent justice, and the measuring line or ring represent righteousness. So Hammurabi is being kind of anointed by the god Shamash, to be the holder of justice and righteousness. This is legitimizing Hammurabi's right to dictate laws. Here's another view of Shamash seated here, holding again that rod and that measuring line or that ring. And this is actually the sun that Shamash is also in charge of. More content is also kind of borders on form, this bit here about the hierarchical arrangement. Shamash is seated, thus he is more important here, while Hammurabi is standing. We have a composite view. Look at the god Shamash. You can see his shoulders, and then the frontal, and then his head is in the profile view. There's also something I want to introduce right here. It's really kind of more of a form, probably hierarchical arrangement, composite view, and foreshortening should have been in form. But they border on content too, I guess. So foreshortening is happening right here. The throne that Shamash is sitting on is seated at an angle, and the idea here is that we're given this perception of depth with this angle of this seat. It's shortened up. It would be bigger than it is, really, but it's kept at an angle so that we think it's deeper. Then also content here, Shamash is wearing a horned headdress. We see 1, 2, 3, 4 horns here. There would have been 4 more on the other side of his head, and so that's a pretty cool headdress. Furthermore, in content, we see that do you see these kind of wavy lines? We saw them on the standard of representing a person who was injured, but here we see they represent the radiating of the sun. So kind of like fire, but bottom line, Shamash is super important and has tons of power. More content, we have 282 laws that have been written out here in cuneiform, and then the Akkadian language as well. Well, cuneiform is the alphabet, Akkadian is the language. Included here are the punishments. The punishments are based on what social class you have in society. We're going to talk about that more in class. It is on this stele in the Code of Hammurabi that we see the phrase, an eye for an eye. So that has become pretty famous to us. The function of this piece, it is actually housed in the Louvre in France because the archaeologist who uncovered it was from there and paid for it. I don't know if this gentleman is actually putting his hand on the real Code of Hammurabi stele, or if maybe this is some replica. I don't know, just kind of, that captivated me, that picture. The function of this piece, though, is that it is meant to make Hammurabi be a lawgiver. Lots of leaders in history want to not be known just for conquering. They want that higher authority of being lawgivers. And the provider of justice. We know this because Hammurabi, in unearthing his history, there have been passed down 50 different letters that describe his works as a leader of the Babylonian Empire, where he talks about just being a lawgiver and providing justice for all sorts of topics for his people. This image right here of Hammurabi is from the United States House of Representatives. There are 24 different leaders who are featured in the House of Representatives in this sort of plaque, and they are all lawgivers. The House of Representatives, where we make laws, recognizes that Hammurabi was a law creator, a lawgiver. And that's the function of the Code of Hammurabi. All right.